For all the best boxing content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and punch that bell for notifications.
Wearing the red trunks with the blue trim, he weighed in at 213 pounds. His professional record, 19 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw with 13 wins by way of knockout. He comes from Sacramento, California. Let's welcome famous Mike Simms. His opponent fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the gold trim. He weighed in at 234 pounds. He is undefeated in his professional career, 24 wins, no losses with 17 wins by way of knockout. He comes from Finchley, England. Let's welcome Roman Greenberg. 10 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division.
Referee again, Arthur McCanty Jr.
Good evening, gentlemen. You received your rules earlier tonight by the New York State Athletic Commission. I expect a nice, clean fight. Touch glove. Good luck to the both of you.
Greenberg, 8 years younger, and he's really outweighing Simms, who was a natural cruiserweight for much of his career, but is 5 out of 6 against heavyweights. But this is his toughest challenge by far.
Sure is, but he is a spoiler in the ring. He has a vexing style, Michael Simms does. He's hard to hit. He's very elusive in the ring.
Hey, touch gloves, get it going. Here comes Roman Greenberg, a guy who likes to take his time and loves it when you come to him. But Simms is going to vows to keep the jab in the face, establish that jab, control the rhythm and distance, and that's really crucial for his chances tonight.
Very important. I've known Michael Simms for a long time, and he was a good fighter. He worked to the body, worked to the head. He maneuvers well in the ring. He's wise beyond his years in the ring. He is 32 years old.
And now Greenberg not wasting any time. He just was looking and seeing how Simms, what he moved, how he moved, what he had, tasted a couple of jabs, and then began to fire back a few of his own. But now it's Greenberg just circling with that left hand, trying to unload some power shots. Simms covering up and gets a chance to escape the ropes as Greenberg let him do so.
Greenberg's got a nice jab. You got to use that more. He's got a good right hand. There's a good hook from him. He said that's one of his best punches. He's got a sneaky hook. It goes around the outside and cracks his opponent. He says his style, he's still learning. Roman Greenberg does. He says, I take no unnecessary risks. His best punch, he says, is his left hook, but he's got a good right cross, too. There's a left hook from him. Look at him pawing with that left, trying to give his opponent something to look at while he's loading up on that right.
Is that a good idea, or would he be better to really just stuff that jab in his face?
Everybody's different. Sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes it's not.
And now he stuffed the jab and came back with a right to the body.
Like
so that jab set up the power punches. Oh, big solid hits. You can hear them as Greenberg begins to unload.
So can Michael Simms.
Oh,
Simms.
Good left hook from Simms.
Hooking off a jab.
Doesn't follow up with anything, and now he'll cover up. He catches those shots but prefers not to counter. Greenberg with that left hand low. He's got the right hand cocked. And very quick left hand from Roman Greenberg from not the most advantageous angle.
Well, you know something, it comes at you from a different angle, though. It's working for him. He holds it down low and he sweeps it up. Kind of a jumping jab, uppercut kind of a punch. There's a good right hand from Simms.
Half minute to go in this first round. Roman Greenberg on the right. It's Michael Simms with his back towards us. So Simms has tasted some power shots from Greenberg, and it's Simms coming forward now, but not sticking the jab, which is a huge mistake. He's got to get there first. Why he's taking those shots and not catching and countering is beyond me, but we'll see as we finish out the first.
I've never found that to be insulting.
I don't think, no, not insulting. I just don't know if it's a factor or not.
No, to me it was never a factor.
Roman Greenberg on the left. He's undefeated in 24 fights. 17 by KO. Greenberg now gets up on his toes a little bit.
And I'm really excited to see Greenberg. I've heard about him for some time. To see him in the ring is really good to see that he is a good fighter. He's got some good style.
He's coming off 3 straight stoppages. He's never really been challenged as a pro. Although he did say 2 fights ago in Monte Carlo he had to rally. He was down early against Alexei Varaka. Not down literally, but he was behind, he felt. So he had to do some adjusting. SIMMS is letting Greenberg set the tone of this fight, though.
Well, he kind of knew what to expect with SIMMS. He said he's a fast counterpuncher. And he says, I do prefer fighters to come after me, but I'll have to adapt with SIMMS. Downstairs to the body goes Greenberg. Greenberg, a silver medalist in the Junior World Championships in 2000.
You know, when they talk, and SIMMS told us, jab in the face for sure, Sean. He's got to stick that jab. But if he's a natural counterpuncher, he's just not comfortable making the play. So what should he do? Now he's probing with the jab. So does he be first or does he catch and counter?
I always like to be first. I like to hit him back first.
Even if you're a natural, as you said, he's a natural counterpuncher, though.
Yes.
So can he change up,
sure
or must he change up
he's
against
been around
Greenberg?
the sport. Yeah, he's been around. He's been a boxer for a number of years as an adolescent, and you know, now he's 32 years old, so he knows.
I just feel personally that you know, he's either got to get off first, because when he's still standing there and he's not in a good position to just counter, because he's going to eat some unnecessary shots like that to the body as he waits and now tries to return fire.
And he's in there with a guy with 21 pounds over his weight. So for Greenberg, he maybe wants to muscle him around a little bit.
No, if I was SIMMS, though, I'd be punching and getting out, and getting out.
Sure. And trying to get the angles. But SIMMS is a fighter, too, that conserves his energy. He doesn't waste energy by bouncing around the ring. Look at that. Nice jabs from him. That's a good jab. Greenberg with the strength. Upstairs.
Greenberg begins to unload. There's that big right hand. He sinks into the body, and that got SIMMS' attention big time. SIMMS catching. Greenberg wisely goes low. He goes upstairs, and that opened up the body for him. So he's setting up SIMMS, it seems, for something bigger to come. This is the time,
and you can do that against somebody like SIMMS, former cruiserweight, moved up to heavyweight. And if you're SIMMS too, you must use your speed. You're in there with a guy that is a full-fledged heavyweight. Use your speed, use the angles. That's a nice jab. Well, he's got a nice jab too, SIMMS does.
He jabbed and picked off a little pawing jab with his right hand. Greenberg just taking his time here.
Very patient. Greenberg has the patience of a much older man. He's 24.
Well, I suppose patience and perseverance.
Big uppercut.
Is keeping in character of Roman Greenberg. Here's a guy who twice avoided bombings at home in northern Israel during this conflict with Lebanon last year. Virtually was seconds from being blown up.
Look at him wipe that left hand. Look, Greenberg is kind of trying to confuse his opponent with that left. I'm going to hit you with the lefty. He waves that left around, and then sometimes he'll throw the straight right.
But what do you do? Why should you wait on him? What should you do when a guy does that?
When guys, I say jab. When you don't know what to do, jab. Jab is the most effective weapon in boxing, both offense and defense. Jabbing
absolutely
will utilize anything. It'll start anything. It'll stop anything. Jabbing is the key. Whoever controls the jab controls the fight in 90% of the cases.
Well, let's see some more jabs from either guy. There's a good left-right from Greenberg. Greenberg on the left, and as you said, Sean, you mentioned earlier, work in progress. They're just I think he's been very content with the left-right because it's been effective. I would love to see a follow-up hook from him occasionally.
Most of the time, that's all he needs to knock out his adversary.
Right.
You know, I would too. I'd like to see a combination downstairs, upstairs, mix it up, or upstairs, downstairs. A big explosion from Greenberg. What you do in so many fights is you slow the tempo down to your speed, and then you all of a sudden you explode.
There was that hook, and then he went upstairs. That was a 4-punch combination, exactly what we've been looking for.
Nice.
There's a double jab, and then followed by that right over the top from Greenberg. Now SIMMS chasing, but doing nothing, not punching his way in. Now he's standing around doing nothing. That's a dangerous thing. Greenberg able to time him here, and now I'll muscle him as we close out the 3rd round. We're in New York. Roman Greenberg trying to stay undefeated against Michael SIMMS. All right, we head to round 4. Nick Charles, Rashawn O'Grady ringside at Madison Square Garden in New York City. Roman Greenberg on the right, undefeated. Michael SIMMS, 32 years old, coming off a loss, has to win this fight, has to do a lot more. There he starts to pump the jab, but not working behind it, just those little single shots. There, double jab, but not much on that second one at all. Greenberg just trying to time those little rushes and make the play when he wants to. Now it's SIMMS probing to the body.
Trying to control the tempo. I've seen it so many times with fighters that are maybe past their prime, like maybe SIMMS might be. You see it, they just stand around. They stand around way too much. They're waiting for something to happen, and you can't do that.
Well, can I tell you, I want to see
fights.
I think Roman Greenberg has to make stuff happen. There's no need for him to stand around. He can walk through this guy, in my opinion, and I think he should. Why is he being cautious? I mean, he's picking his shots. And as you said, he'd rather play it safe.
That's our opinion, sitting over here at ringside.
There, now he starts to rev it up. No, I'm not being disparaging. I just think that the observation is, I think hitting on, he's not a risk taker, as you said.
Yeah, but it's not the time.
But it's not as entertaining for some people.
Sure, it's not, but it's not the time. He is a very, like I said earlier, very patient fighter, Greenberg. The time is not right. Michael SIMMS is not ready to go. Michael's still trying. He's punching back. He's still dangerous. Greenberg does not want to run into something. SIMMS has power, even though he's a smaller heavyweight. He's still got power and he's got speed.
I'll buy that.
You know, you nice percolate a little bit. It's not time yet. Plus, if you're Roman Greenberg, you need airtime. You need time on TV.
I think you need to make the deep impression on TV. There's some body shots as he creases SIMMS repeatedly to the body. This is what the fans are on their feet about now, or getting into this fight a lot more, as Greenberg is really dialing up the offense. And SIMMS with a wild shot. Boy, they're winking at each other, a lot of respect. Oh, crack. That right hand to the body by Greenberg, followed to the head, and that seemed to stir SIMMS into some action.
Yeah, SIMMS just does not have the power that Greenberg has. You know, he's 234 pounds coming at you. Those punches is a heavy shot.
Yeah, he's big. Look at his legs. He's a powerful man.
Very thick.
Greenberg elects to back up into the corner and let SIMMS tee off as we finish out the 4th here in New York. We hit the 5th round, scheduled for 10. Roman Greenberg on the right, Michael SIMMS in the red and black. SIMMS now pumping the jab. Let's see if that right hand follows, Sean.
It seems like SIMMS comes out every round with a faster start, a little more perk in his step and a little more crisper on his punches. Then as the time wears on, the 3 minutes, in that final minute, it's Greenberg who kind of takes over.
Well, Greenberg just patient. He really hasn't done anything offensively. And why not SIMMS with those single shots? He'll double the jab occasionally there. Now trying to pick off Greenberg simply with the jab. Greenberg now forces the action, but backs off center of the ring.
Greenberg just a different type of fighter. Look at Greenberg's, you know, feinting over here. He's twisting. He's turning.
You like his defense?
I like it. You know, his hand is low, but he's not getting hit with overhand rights. There's been nothing that SIMMS has done to make him lift that left hand.
Well, at least he is. I like the head feints too. You know, anytime you see any of that in the heavyweight, it's a plus.
Fans don't like the patience. They want to see some punching. But remember, the first part of the round, Michael SIMMS scored pretty well. Here we are at the middle of the round.
Greenberg with about 8 unanswered punches now, and SIMMS has got to get out of trouble. He's taking a pounding here. Greenberg with free shot after free shot. Nothing coming back from Michael SIMMS. So is it time now, Sean, to close in a little bit more?
I would say now would be a perfect time for an explosion. The crowd's told you.
I'm with you.
The crowd's told you. We've seen enough of this. And Greenberg does not want this to become banal.
Well, again, it goes back to Greenberg, what he told us yesterday. I want to be a world champion my way. And the implication is that caution might be the best way to get there. I'm not going to take unnecessary chances or punishment. I'll last a lot longer. But he's in against a guy who can't hurt him, in my opinion. And now, this is what we've come to see. Greenberg unleashed that power. Free shot again after free shot. Look.
But it still looks like Greenberg looks like he doesn't have the trigger on the punches. You know, they're not fluid yet. He's still pushing the punches. SIMMS coming back, or trying to a bit.
We hit the 6. It's clear to me, Sean. Would you argue that Roman Greenberg's pitching a shutout? No doubt about that.
I wouldn't argue the veracity of that.
So here comes the same pattern now.
Yeah, Michael said to me today, his fight plan is a steady rhythm off the ropes, moving style. He said he was watching Holyfield against the bigger guys like Riddick Bowe and
well, Riddick,
heavyweights.
When he said that, it struck me the couple times when Evander failed against Bowe was when he stood there and tried to duke with him, and a much bigger man just eventually melted him down.
But it was pretty exciting.
Oh,
it was
no
pretty
question.
exciting.
I saw every one of them ringside, and they were epic.
Well, I had to watch from way in the back because my seats were way up there.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't pay for yours.
You had those front row seats.
You didn't pay for yours.
Oh, we all pay.
You have to lose more money in Vegas to get the seats.
The crowd getting on to Greenberg now.
Well, again, Michael SIMMS, in my opinion, is in a fight he can't win. I say that, and Greenberg's in a fight he could only lose if he gets absolutely careless.
Sure.
Why not go for it here?
Well, the real danger in this fight is that Michael SIMMS could make you look something besides exciting.
But I don't think he's moving enough and throwing enough back to do that. I don't think that. I don't think SIMMS. I don't think there's any danger, Sean. I disagree.
I agree with you. There's no danger. But the danger here is that Greenberg exposing Greenberg to make him look like he is a banal fighter. That's what the danger is.
So in other words, Greenberg should be getting him out of it.
Yes, that's correct. But Michael SIMMS is that kind of fighter. Whenever I heard Greenberg is going to fight Michael SIMMS, I thought, well, why would he fight him?
Me too.
That guy is he's hard to look good against. He's wily in the ring. He's wise. He understands boxing. He just goes through the motions, though, to make you look bad, not to win these rounds.
He's
in there to survive.
His offense is absolutely benign here, and Greenberg with free shot after free shot here.
Remember, George Foreman could not fight any Jimmy Youngs. And that's what we're seeing here. Greenberg's got to be careful that he's fighting these kind of fighters. And no doubt about it, Jimmy Young was an outstanding, great fighter.
His defense.
It was spectacular. And Michael has good defense, but no offense. You got to have offense to win fights.
As he covers up and waits for another salvo from Greenberg. It's not as if he covered up, catches shots, and returns fire on the counter. SIMMS doing none of it as we close this out. Seventh round here at Madison Square Garden. Nick Charles with Sean O'Grady ringside. Roman Greenberg, a clean sweep on the cards. Fans got a little anxious there in the midway through. They want to see Greenberg get SIMMS out of there, I would think.
Or in a little bit of a challenge. You know, it's even SIMMS as a part of this too. He comes out again the first part of every round. He comes out and he tries to set the tempo for that round. As the round wears, he slows down and Greenberg picks it up.
Exactly. Good three-punch combination from Greenberg there. So jab, right hand, followed by that left again. Like to see more of that. Greenberg with pretty good hand speed for a heavyweight. Double jab. And now SIMMS comes back with a jab, and then Greenberg counters that. Now each guy waiting for the other, and Greenberg content to make the play. So there, unanswered shots, and referee Arthur McCandy warns Greenberg to keep the punches up. That was absolutely clean. That belt line's a little low on Michael SIMMS, so he's even a more inviting target below the ribs, kidney area. The belt line well below the navel of Michael SIMMS, so there's a big inviting target down low for Roman Greenberg to hit.
But there's not been that big defining punch that I've seen from from Greenberg that I'm still looking for.
So a couple of good combinations.
Yeah,
he may not be a one-punch guy
right,
by any
sure.
means, but yeah, you want to see what we've seen a couple of times in this fight, and really let his hands fly.
We were talking earlier about some trainers from him from America or local trainers that could really help him ascend to the next level. They're trying to do the best they can in England. He works out Finchley, England, about 14 miles from London. He's out in the country. They got him chopping wood.
Sounds very bucolic. Very bucolic, but does that help him as a fighter? You think he should move?
I think so. I think there's certain trainers that they got Burgess Merediths out there in the sport that can use rock'em sock'em robots and take a fighter to the next level. And he is to the level where he could step up.
Oh, there's no question, and it's not a chauvinistic statement. The best sparring, certainly among heavyweights, is here in America.
The best sparring and the best teachers, the professors of boxing. And for somebody like Michael SIMMS, I really hate to see any fighter take unnecessary punches. Michael, I think he's out of this fight. He's not going to win, but he looks like he's going to hang in there for the distance.
He's trying here as we close out the seventh. A head to the eighth is scheduled for 10 heavyweights. Roman Greenberg on the right. Michael SIMMS trying to win a round here. He did come on, had his moments the final 20 seconds of that seventh.
And I'll tell you something, by the 8th round, you can see the 10th round. You can see there's light at the end of the tunnel. If you can make it in so many fights to the 8th round, many times your opponent's punches subside, he slows down, he gets tired, so you can make it another 3 rounds really. The 8th, the 9th, and the 10th.
Now Greenberg trying to cut the distance. He gets clocked as SIMMS rarely gets that full extension on that jab. He did that time. Doing nothing to really discourage Roman Greenberg, though. Greenberg stuffs the jab, right hand over the top. SIMMS has picked up his pace the last round in this one, so credit him for not giving up on this fight. Sean, what should Greenberg be doing now?
Well, I still like the attack that he's using. I would like to see more punches. He starts late in the round. I'd like to see him stay on the body. He's kind of abandoned that and then come up to the head. There's a lot of things that, you know, these are the kind of fights that you need to have
Right.
so that you can go to school.
Improve, huh?
Yeah, to improve. You got to take what you see here, and I know fans are disappointed, and rightly so. There's not a lot of action in this fight, but Greenberg has to take this and learn from it. What can I do to make it more interesting or more valuable to the people that came to the fight?
Does Simms look dangerous in any way to you right now?
No, not at all. Not at all. I take that back. Every fighter's dangerous. Getting hit, every punch hurts, and every fighter's dangerous. I don't think he's not really taking the initiative to say to me that he really wants to win this fight, Michael Simms.
I'm not taking those shots, but I would conclude that Travis Simms has nothing to hurt, to scourge or hurt Roman Greenberg, and I think it's time to start thinking about closing this show.
Sure, if you're Roman.
Man in black.
Yep.
Oh, a nice left hook from Greenberg. Greenberg's hands are down. Now he lets his hands fly.
You know, there's a trick in boxing that trainers can teach you. Thumb up, thumb down. Every punch, you got to pronate the blow. It looks to me like Greenberg is not pronating the blow. He's punching with his thumb up.
Let's see if we get it here in the ninth. Now it's Simms squared up. He went southpaw, and he's still southpaw.
Sure, why not?
I don't know why.
What do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? You might lose a round. You know,
he might get knocked
out.
We
talked about the safety of Greenberg going against Simms. There's been nothing really to show me from Roman at this point. There's a sense of urgency. If there's any danger with him either.
Because a fighter, when you know you've dominated, again, you want to entertain fans, but you want to win. But he's never been hurt, never been in any danger. Nothing wrong with that being enough, I suppose, but you can't do that indefinitely.
Not at all.
And be a star.
Not at all. He needs to have a defining fight. This is not it, obviously, but a defining fight where there is a sense of urgency, where there's a hush over the crowd during the fight, where there's a possibility you might get hurt, you might get knocked out. Now coming on a little bit of Greenberg, but still just pushing these punches, not really snapping them off.
I really like his body work and that he's so committed to the body. I do. Oh, that's borderline. There, as Greenberg snakes that jab through. And then he'll rip to the body. There's a good short overhand right from Greenberg.
Greenberg has a lot of skills, but he's like a fighter that's a young fighter that he doesn't know what he doesn't know. The tricks that I was talking about earlier, like the pronating the blow, like the closing of the fist, there's something he's doing that he's not able to knock out the fighters like Michael. Now, Michael's a wonderful fighter, don't get me wrong, but you got to get these kind of fighters out of there. The survivors. Sense of urgency.
Simms is the guy fighting with some fire here in these last couple of rounds, so he's not just packing it in by any means. Greenberg thudding right hand at times. Now he tries to rip the uppercut through. And he's able to tee off as Simms has stayed in the southpaw stance. And credit Greenberg, he's figured out that stance pretty well. And now we see Simms back orthodox, and he gets cracked for the change.
Well, Roman was an accomplished amateur fighter, so he's seen the southpaw stance many times in the amateurs.
Boy, but it's still a bear to deal with.
I hated it. No, 3 of my 5 losses to southpaws. They're vexing.
Winding down round 9 here at the Garden in New York. Sean, final round. Both guys look relatively fresh to me. Nobody looks absolutely fatigued. And one guy's been on the receiving end of most of the stuff.
Well, remember back, I said at the beginning of the 8th round, you could see the light at the end of the tunnel, and by the 10th round, you got 3 more minutes. It was important for me to see Greenberg in the 10th round. It's important for me to see how he reacts, how he behaves.
So you're Roman Greenberg. You're in the 10th round, Madison Square Garden. What do you do now?
Well, you still, for me, you still go for the knockout. You still try to blast your opponent. If you're in the 10th round, the final round, you get to go home after this. But if not, just throw everything you have. A lot of times in that final round, you just let it fly. You know, just build up the point.
Right.
Don't worry about the knockout.
Don't
just
worry,
build
exactly.
up the point. And it's surprising how many times you do that and you knock out your opponent.
And the crowd's with us on this one.
Crowd chanting, Roman, Roman, downstairs to the body. Good shot, and Michael knew it.
SIMMS, to his credit, has had his flashes of offense more in the second half of this fight than he had at the beginning. Right hand by Greenberg as he cuffs one of the very few clinches. Arthur McCanty really hasn't had to bust these guys up much.
Well, when you don't know who the referee is in the fight, then you. Now we all know who Arthur McCanty is, but he's been quiet.
For heavyweights, that's quite a thing.
Sure, and then you look at SIMMS too, and you know I was talking about those fighters that may be on the other side of that hill. SIMMS is doing just enough to lose these rounds, doing just enough to lose. If he did a little bit more, he might win, at least pick up a few rounds. But he's been swept on every round on this fight, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
On my card. And he does that because he's doing everything he can to lose every round. It's tough.
Now Greenberg again trying to hammer the shots home and maybe break down his opponent here in the closing seconds. Leaning on him. SIMMS trying to push Greenberg off, punching more now. Greenberg eating shots, and that seemed to wake him up. Now he's got SIMMS in the center of the ring. They laid on the ropes for a good minute.
Oh, SIMMS with a good cross.
Winging shots here.
Greenberg comes back. Again, SIMMS tagging him. Something woke SIMMS.
Good for SIMMS, full of fight to the end.
Hey, let's go another round. Oh, both fighters. A slugfest at the end.
Greenberg with a huge very nice right hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Madison Square Garden, after 10 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecards. All three judges, Larry Hazard Jr., Ron McNair, and John McCain, score the bout identical, 99-91, for your winner by unanimous decision, Roman Greenberg.